Good morning, or good afternoon, or good morrow to thee, my loyal subjects. My name is MiAh the King, and today we're taking a look at a small little game that came out on Steam earlier today. It is called Rise of the Third Power. It was probably easily missed, so if you haven't heard of it, then that wouldn't surprise me. I only heard about it recently myself and decided I'd give it a try. The game is developed by Stegosoft Games and published by Dangan Entertainment, a fantasy story-rich JRPG anime-style game. By the way, if I sound a little bit different, I got a brand new mic, so please, any feedback on whether this mic is better than the last one would be greatly appreciated. Now, according to Steam, Rise of the Third Power is a retro-themed console-style role-playing game loosely based on the political climate of Europe in the 1930s. The story takes place in the land of Rin during the height of the Age of Sail, following the events that would lead to the greatest war in human history. Now, I don't know exactly how based on real life this game is, because there's magic involved, plus some countries I've never heard of. So when they say based, do they mean that this game was inspired by? It's hard to tell, but it can't be based on reality too much with fake people, fake countries, and magic. Oh, and let's not forget the giant toads that use swords. Pretty sure that's not in real life either. But I don't care. If it's a magical take with some stuff changed about a vague part of Earth's history, then I won't complain too much. It all still seems pretty fantastical and fictional for me to have some fun with it. So I only played it for a little over an hour, enough to get a good enough feel for what the game is going to offer me in the long run, and to get a general feel for how the game's going to play. The game is not in early access, and the game is charging $20 US. So let's dive in deeper and see if this game is worth anything. We'll go into the pros and cons as we always do, followed by my final thoughts, so stick around and stay put and listen to all that just in case. Now, first up is the positives, because those are what stuck out to me first. The first positive I discovered I greatly enjoyed was the music. And later on, I found out the sound effects were pretty good too. For an 8-bit game like this, I was worried they'd end up using stock sounds or stock music. You know, who knows, but maybe they did, I don't know, but it didn't sound like it to me. The music was phenomenal, and it really just pulls you in. Depending on the situation or the environment, the music complements it perfectly, really helping to draw you in and immerse yourself to the game. And that beginning music was beautiful, and check this out, listen to this combat music while I'm fighting this boss. Wasn't that epic? Man, I was tapping my toe and just bumping to that music. Talk about kick ass. Number two, next is the graphics. Now, sure, they're not going to be anything super detailed or fancy. It's an older retro style game. But even so, there's a lot of attention to detail scattered about all those little pixels. And the color style worked really well too. I mean, I have seen pixelated games like this where they are just so bland of color, or they're too flushed with color, and that it was just either annoying or painful on the eyes. But here, they did it very well. It works. It's dark where it needs to be, it's colorful where it needs to be, and overall it was just pleasant on the eyes. Number three would be the storyline. Now, whether it's based on real life or not aside, the story here is great. Something about kidnapping a princess to avoid a war. I mean, it's been done before, sure, so it's not spectacular, but the fantasy setting, the characters, the dialogue, I mean, it was all written and done very well. I mean, even though there's no voice acting, it got me to laugh a couple of times, and that's hard to do with games like this. Plus, I found myself really attracted to the different types of characters and their personalities. They weren't cringe or cliche, and they just fit their roles perfectly. They were written well. All these things added together created a great experience while I was experiencing the story. Number four, the gameplay. I didn't expect I'd say this, or put it in the positives, but the combat in this game was really fun. It's turn-based, so that might turn some people off, but it shouldn't. The skill combos, the special moves, the sound effects, the different stats and effects. It was rather fast-paced, intuitive, smooth, and it just really felt good. I didn't think I'd have as much fun with the combat, but it was great. Everything was smooth, everything worked, and everything just felt like it should, making the overall gameplay actually kind of fun. There's even a small sneaking mechanic, but it's not a big part of the game, and it's done simple and well for this style. And the game is pretty legit simple in most other ways, letting you learn and just get a feel for how to play early on so that the rest of the time can be spent enjoying the game. Number five, the price. For $20, this game is a steal. I could easily find myself lost for dozens of hours in this dedicated RPG game. For $20, I should get at least 4 hours of good story content, and this game is looking like it'll give me far more than that. So even though there's no voice acting, and even though the game doesn't have the best graphics, the well-written story, amazing music, great writing, and intuitive gameplay makes the $20 price tag so damn appropriate that I just had to give it a place on the positives today. Okay, so that's all I got for the positives, and next up we'll be getting into the negatives. Make sure you keep watching and pay attention, because you never know when a certain negative you absolutely hate might pop its head up and ruin a game for you. Alright? Also, real quick, if so far you're enjoying my content or finding it informative, then please do me a huge favor and spend just a couple seconds of your time supporting my channel. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to my Kingdom or Nothing, or just leave me a comment. Each one of those things helps me out immensely, and I would be super grateful. Thank you. Now then, on to the negatives. Number 1, the game's tutorial. It's a bit lame. I mean, don't get me wrong, they kind of do it the right way. They have it happen as you're playing through the story, which I appreciate, but then they just pause everything, give you this giant wall of text to read through, and it's all jumbled together. It's a bit annoying. It pulls you out of the game, and it spends way too much time telling you something that could have been summed up in a few short sentences. I mean, at least they have a tutorial, right? But it's still bland and it's annoying. It's like, hey, if you save up your skill points, which you receive only by attacking or getting hit, then you could use more moves. But, you know, that's like a sentence. But they spend a paragraph telling you that. Like, it could have been simplified, and that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Number 2, the game's UI, its user interface. It's a bit wonky, and it just looks and feels off balance. And the text type is something that can be hard to read, especially when it's all bunched up together. Depending on the situation you're in, I found myself rereading or getting lost in what I was reading because it was just a little bit wonky. It's not the worst thing. This is a minor thing, but still. I know they did it this way to fit the retro theme, but it's kind of annoying to look at, especially when it's shoved at you in this giant paragraph of tutorial text. Plus the menu, I don't know what it is. It's just a bit off. I can't really put my finger on why, but the menu just feels off to me. I don't like going into my menu. I don't like trying to navigate through it. Number 3, the controls. Now, while everything was working perfectly for me, the game is only played via keyboard. Maybe it can be played with a controller. I don't know. It does say it's a console-style game, so maybe that's what they were going for. But I didn't have a controller to play with to try using there. So, when using the keyboard, the only confirm button that I could find was Enter. And while, you know, that's fine, and it does give you 2 different ways to play on keyboard, it's still only on keyboard, and it's still a little bit awkward. Why not just make it so I can use my mouse for everything? You know, it was just a little bit awkward and weird. And once again, this is a small negative as it's pretty simple to learn how to get comfortable with the keyboard while you're playing, but right off the bat, it just felt kind of weird. Okay, so that's all I got for the negatives, and honestly, even for those ones that I gave you, I had to really nitpick to get those, because none of those were really that big a deal or that bad. Honestly, it was really hard to find any real negatives to talk about here, but I know I needed some because otherwise it wouldn't look like a fair review. I was really enjoying the game. I am loving the story, and I was bonding with the characters. I'm addicted to that music, and the combat was actually fun. I can't wait to unlock new skills and abilities and use them in battle and see what kind of combos and moves my little characters make. There's also a crafting system in the game that I didn't mention that I can't wait to further mess around with, and you can collect stuff for it and buy stuff for it and make better stuff as you get better. There's an experience thing that the party shares. So even if if you've got 8 characters like in Final Fantasy, but you can only use 3 at a time, everyone gains experience, everyone shares experience, so you don't need to worry about switching them out or not, and you can actually just put the party you think is best for the situation, which I love that, by the way. And then everyone levels up at the same time. Everyone has their own unique perks, some that can help the party and some that just give them new skills and abilities, which I also really enjoy and thought was really good. And overall, I just really enjoyed the whole hour I was playing. I'm definitely not getting a refund, and I will be revisiting this game in the future to play it some more. So if you were looking for a really well done RPG, then this is for you. If you love old style retro pixelated games, then this is a really good one to try out too. I would highly recommend everyone who's into retro games or RPGs, or if you're watching this video, go try this game out. I honestly was having a lot of fun, and was kind of sad when I had to get off to make this video. But beware that it doesn't have any voice acting, and it does have its slow parts, like when you're playing as a princess just walking around town talking to people. You know, it's not all exciting, fun, cool music with cool fights, but it's all to build the world and develop the characters, which is greatly appreciated even if I gotta sit through a very short, boring section. I gotta give kudos to the game devs, as this game is pretty darn great. Go out, check it out, give it a try, and hey, here's the best part, there's a free demo on the Steam store page, so even if, after watching this, you're still on the fence, then just go play the demo and get addicted to it on your own time. Alright? So that's all I got for this video, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Please go check out that game. I feel like it really deserves your time and attention. If you found this video informative or entertaining, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I can't wait to see you all again on my next adventure. So until then, I bid you all farewell.